Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio. 95.7 FM. I'm Kevin Kietzman. We are locked and loaded here on Liberation Day in America. I'm excited for Liberation Day. It's not like Election Day. We won't get results of tariffs at the end of the day. We will not know how well this is working at the end of the day. We'll maybe talk about it a little bit more as the show goes on, but it certainly is a new era where we're all sort of guessing and speculating how this will all end up. In Trump, I trust, and the people he's surrounded himself with, that this is going to work. We've already heard that India and Israel may be pulling all of their tariffs and not enforcing them anymore on United States goods. If that's all that happens and the world stops tariffing us, what a win. What a win. So we'll just see how it plays out. We won't focus on that yet today. That's somewhere months down the road. We'll find out on that. Coming up in a little bit, we'll talk about the Kansas City Chiefs and those 5 pieces of land I told you had options on them for stadium or development for the Kansas City Chiefs in the state of Kansas. The options expired on those lands March 31st. I have new information on what they did to exercise those options and keep those alive in order to possibly build in Kansas. We'll do that a little bit later on. We're also going to talk a little bit about media, which I love doing, and something so disingenuous that they've been up to again this spring about climate type things. We have record snow levels in the west of the United States, and they continue to talk about rivers and lakes and droughts and how everything is falling apart. I've got some great data for you. It's unbelievable what they will report against the facts that are actually happening. Pretty cool stuff. And Mark, brush it up, buddy. We're going to talk Final Four at the end, and it has nothing to do with basketball. It's the biggest story of the Final Four going into the Final Four, and it's not basketball.
All right.
I piqued your interest, didn't I?
I'm curious now.
Oh yeah. We're going there. You're going to like it, I promise. You'll like it. We will start today on this Liberation Day with more crazy libs being libs. And I came across this story, and this is not as bad as burning a Tesla, but that's a pretty low bar. I mean, if you do something bad and it's not as bad as burning a Tesla, and you say that's a low bar to say, well, it's not as bad as setting a Tesla on fire. We've got this one guy that did this and burned a Tesla in Colorado. They picked him up in Texas, and he's facing 20 years in the slammer and should. It becomes a huge federal crime to do this and cross state lines, get picked up. There's no escaping it. They'd better stop doing it. They're already finding new ways to do things that are the lesser of two evils, but certainly an evil. And for the life of me, I don't understand the criminal mind. I don't understand why Democrats can't just boycott something. If we compare this to Bud Light, or I'll just be open and honest about this, I have not purchased a Nike product since Colin Kaepernick took a knee. I refuse to do it. They gave him an endorsement deal for wearing a Castro T-shirt and being anti-American. I said, that's it. They got slave labor in China. I'm no Nike in the Kietzman household. Well, I can't say that. Jessica may have some shoes or something somewhere. I don't know. I threw all my stuff out, and I've never bought any of it. And I won't. It's problematic. Like the Royals have a swoosh on their jersey, NFL, all these teams, college teams have it, and you want to buy the stuff, and they have cool stuff, but I won't do it. I just flat won't do it. Now, I didn't set my Nike stuff on fire. I didn't go to a store and steal the stuff. I didn't rip it up, cut it, set it on fire, at the mall. I just did my own thing. I didn't tell anybody about it. I'm just like, I don't do Nike. I would encourage you to not do Nike. But whatever, you get to make your own choices. I don't do Nike. That's it. It's just my boycott. That's what we did with Bud Light. People are like, I don't drink Bud Light because I didn't like the Dylan Mulvaney thing. Great, okay. But we didn't burn the brewery or set fire to bars that serve Bud Light. Ridiculous. No. But Democrats, these folks are different. We know what they're doing with Tesla. Now they have moved on to Jeff Bezos. There's your headline for this show today. Jeff Bezos has Amazon, but he has other entities as well. The left is upset that Amazon picks on the little guy. I don't know how. It's a website filled with products. You either buy them or you don't. I don't know how Amazon picks on anybody. I'll try to figure that out, but I can't wrap my head around it really. But what they're really mad about is that he had dinner with Trump at Mar-a-Lago, and he owns the Washington Post, and the Washington Post did not endorse Kamala Harris for president. They didn't endorse anybody. They're playing it straight, and he has ordered the editorial staff at the Washington Post to play the news straight and to focus editorially, instead of on politics, personal liberties and free markets. Now, here we go again. This puts liberals in a spot where they're doing things now to Jeff Bezos because they don't like him emphasizing personal liberties and free markets. These tariffs are about free markets. Personal liberties are your rights as an American citizen versus a non-citizen. So they've just decided Bezos is all in with Trump. And you know what? You probably should be. With the tariffs and all that's going on, when the president of the United States asks you to come to Mar-a-Lago for dinner and you run Amazon or Apple or any of these entities, you should go there. And even if you're not dyed in the wool, you should probably pivot your company toward the direction of the new leadership of the country that you operate in. Any good business person would do that. So what are these liberals doing? These crazoids? Well, they're so mad at Bezos now. According to Business Insider and an excellent writer who wrote a beautiful piece named Emily Stewart, she interviewed 12 different self-professed liberals that are going after Jeff Bezos in different ways. One 29-year-old executive, professional executive, says he goes to Whole Foods, which Jeff Bezos owns, and does self-checkout. And every time he gets 4 lemons, he claims he gets 1. And every time he gets 6 apples, he claims at self-checkout he gets 2. He cheats the scales on everything he weighs. He puts something called salmon locks. I don't know what salmon locks is, in his computer sleeve and estimates, well, he says that Bezos is the Lex Luthor of all retail, and he estimates he steals $1,000 a year from Whole Foods. The other guy, who likes to cheat the scales, says he tries to get $100 every time because Bezos does nothing but rip off little people. Another man says he's a video gamer on the left, and he hates Bezos. His favorite thing is ordering video game components that no longer work or other people's that don't work. He orders the new item, brand new, gets it in, puts the old item in the box, ships it back, and says this doesn't work. He's essentially replacing things that don't work with things that do for free. That's his way of stealing. He says, I'm the Batman of returns, and it's not just video games. You name it. If it's on Amazon, I'm stealing it. Everything that's broken, this guy gets all of his friends. If it's broken, get it to me. If it's got a rip, get it to me. I'll send it back because they got this like no questions asked kind of policies because they're so big, it's hard to catch them. This just in. You can return almost anything broken to Amazon and get it replaced with something new if you're willing to be a thief. And that's what this is. And to me, it's the equivalent of wire fraud, anything else. I mean, this is interstate commerce. This should be a federal crime. And we should be able to catch all these people. In fact, Amazon should be able to catch these people. And I'm guessing the reason they don't catch these serial returners that hate Jeff Bezos is they figure over the last few years, nobody would prosecute them. That needs to end. I have a sponsor on my podcast called B-Stock. They're an electronics superstore in Olathe. They basically take pallets of electronics, let's say Samsung TVs, show up at the port in LA from Asia, and let's say there's 1,000 televisions there. Well, usually there's about 10 to 15 of them that there's box damage to. So he buys all the box damages and brings them here to Kansas City to his outlet, then has to inspect them, see if they work, whatever, and he sells them that way at a huge discount. But a lot of this is on the internet. And he has told me the same stories of what people do. He knows he sends products out, a laptop to somebody that works. And they will send an identical laptop back. And they started now embedding these things or putting a little dot from a Sharpie or something on the back of it. He's got people that are serial returners. They're sending stuff back to him that doesn't work after they've purchased something that does. And they give the refund. This has to be a multi-billion-dollar business, and Jeff Bezos is now being attacked by the left on returns, on cheating scales, on flat stealing food from Whole Foods, and Business Insider has found 12 people that are proud to say it's them. Now, they're not giving up their names, but they're proud they're doing this. They're not telling their friends, don't shop at Whole Foods. Oh, God, no, we love Whole Foods. They're probably, there's so many of these things, we're not going to change the way we live. We got to eat at Whole Foods, but we're getting Bezos. And if he misses $100 from me every time I steal from him, He's never going to miss it. He's so rich. These idiots don't understand it gets passed on to the rest of us. We're the ones paying for their theft. Bezos is going to make his profit. Prices will go up. I think a huge reason why we had inflation under Biden was lack of enforcing crime. When you see things getting locked in glass counters at CVS, and the self-checkout to me was always a bad idea. You're just asking people to steal. Do you know how easy it is to go to Walmart and buy your groceries and get a giant buggy full of a family of, you got 4 kids, whatever, and you wind up having like 100 items in there, 2 or 3 weeks worth of stuff? To take 4 or 5 of those things and not scan them and just leave them in the buggy as you're putting stuff back in. That's the easiest grift in the world. It comes off the bottom line at Walmart, and it raises the prices for people who don't do that. You people are thieves. You need to be prosecuted. You need to be locked up. And I'm not saying lock you up for 50 years or something like that. You need to pay time. These are crimes that are no different than what they're doing to Elon Musk. And now they're attacking Jeff Bezos, who to this point has been a hardened, dyed-in-the-wool liberal. One of them. The products, the things that he does, everything he's about. And now they're mad at him because he changed the editorial content of his newspaper. I really don't know what their beef is with Amazon. They just don't like him. He had dinner with Trump, and he seems to be turning some of his policies to benefit his company. Well, we can't have that. Let's go steal from the guy. These people are unbelievable, man. It's a mental illness. I'm telling you, you've got to have a mental illness to set a Tesla on fire or to say, I'm pissed at Jeff Bezos. I'm going to his store and I'm going to start stealing food, knowing that almost everywhere you buy stuff at Whole Foods, even if they caught you shoplifting, they would let you go. Because that's what we've done under Biden. We've got to stop. We cannot allow a segment of our society to just walk in and steal stuff. It's costing all of us. I don't know what percentage of the inflation impact was from just flat out theft, but it's significant. And we're watching retailers close store everywhere, not because they didn't work where they were, because they can't stop the people from stealing. And we can't keep this location open because we're losing so much money because of theft. You could hire guards, but it creates a dangerous situation. They're all afraid of guns. We can't have security here because what if the person stealing stuff has a gun and now people are shooting guns and it puts the other customers at risk? They're all afraid of this. You know what? I would hate to be at a place where there's a shootout or something bad happen. But to me, I'll run that personal risk for myself if it means we're stopping people from stealing all this stuff everywhere. It's an epidemic. And these liberals on the left have turned toward Jeff Bezos. And they're not stopping there. They'll go after the rest of them. 913-408-7957. That's 408-7957. Boycotts are no longer any good. We got to steal. We got to break things. We got to burn things. That's the only way to get back at these horrible billionaires making all these monies, all these dollars at our expense. Like to know what you think. 913-408-7957. Be listening at 1045. We've got tickets to see Dave Ramsey. That's all ahead, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Chiefs and a new stadium on this broadcast as well. You're listening to Uncanceled. This is KCMO Talk Radio.
Call Kevin Kietzman, 913-408-7957. Now on 95.7 FM.
Coming up in 10 minutes, the latest on the Kansas City Chiefs extending deadlines on their lease, their purchase options on land in Kansas, and how this involves Jackson County. I've got that information coming up in just about 10 minutes. Right now, we want to go to the phones on our lead topic today, and that is stealing and ripping off Jeff Bezos any way the left can. It is the next big thing. Jeff joins us now in Kansas City. He's a former off-duty police officer that used to work in stores. Hello, Jeff. How are you today?
Good. Hopefully I'll be back doing that one of these days. But anyway, what I wanted to get to is these people that are stealing this stuff, when they're doing it, they want to appeal to people that are passing by. Oh, you're doing this, you're harassing me and all, whatever. I didn't do it, even though you're pulling product off of them. Oh, I have to have this, and it's a bottle of, $50 liquor or whatever. And, I love to do you're stealing from this person, this person, this person, this person. And of course, you always have to have these bleeding hearts that are going, well, can't you just let them go? Hey, in Kansas City, Missouri, there's not a jail. That's one of the things we're going to be voting for next week. There's not a jail. Guess what? We kick those people loose most of the time, or if we write them a charge, they go to court. They're not going to jail. So as a result, nothing's going to happen to them immediately anyway.
Yeah,
they're getting handcuffed, they're getting a ticket, and they're gone.
I'm hopeful somehow the Trump administration nationally can put a focus on this and encourage retailers to do better. And the real scam, the real money really has got to be the online theft. This returning a product that you've had is broken or whatever, and these return policies, getting the new one and scamming them, it's insane.
Your stuff with Bezos that you're talking about,
yeah,
that's huge money.
Huge.
I'm going to tell you right now, those guys have got to clamp down on that stuff because everybody that buys anything from Amazon or any of those people is paying for it.
Absolutely.
And you cannot purchase from them and not realize that everybody that walks in Walmart is paying for those people that steal.
That's right.
And you have to be angry.
I'm with you. Great call, buddy. We appreciate the work you did in those stores all those years. We hope you get back in there. I'd love to see them get you back in there. I think that's a worthy thing. John is in KCK. He's talking about Bezos. What's up, John?
Hey, my man, Kevin. Hey, we're two parts to this. And I got two topics on this as well. So the theft leads to insurance fraud. Because when I moved back out here to Kansas from Jersey, from Philadelphia, how you doing? Back about 4 years ago, Amazon, half their employees, they're so far woke left that me, 10 years in the Army, 6 years mechanic, guess what? I only lasted 4 months because they're eating each other inside of Amazon, and half their employees don't even care because they're so far woke left. Like my grandfather said, he was a Democrat his whole life. He stopped voting Democrat in 1976. He goes, 90% of our country's problems are because of Democrats. But right now, I currently work for an electronic company. If I say their name, everybody's going to know who it is, and it's not Walmart. But we have to run returns through our maintenance and repair team to ensure that it's not being fraud, because certain things like Apple products and stuff.
Right. Okay, so let me ask you this. I get that, and a lot of companies do that. What do you do when you find that it is fraud?
We have to report it to the police, because if somebody steals from the store, we can't go after, we can't touch it, we can't do nothing. We report it to the police. Luckily for the store I'm at, we got more cameras than we do square footage, and they're good cameras too. And then not only that too, but the police department we're in the jurisdiction of, they have cameras at the lights outside the store. So if we can't pick up the license plate number, they can, and then they can start tracking down who it is.
Yeah. Man, I tell you, it's great call. Thank you. You call me anytime, John. Appreciate that. Loved your Philly shout out there too. Cool stuff. It's an epidemic, man. This stuff is everywhere, and we've got to stop it. But the focus here is Jeff Bezos. They're going after Bezos because they don't like his politics. It's people on the left doing this. Here's Wes in Gladstone. Good morning, Wes.
Yeah, Keith, hey, I hope Bezos wakes up like Elon did and realize that he's on the wrong side of politics, because look who his supposedly like-minded people are, right? As soon as you step out of line on the left, they come at you hard, okay? And so hopefully he'll wake up and he'll realize that.
The worst
But
part is,
the
don't
big-
you think we all stayed in line with them forever on race and a lot of these issues that everybody was afraid to take them on because we kind of knew they were crazy, and now we're just learning that, okay, people have said enough is enough. We don't care. You're crazy. We're just not doing this anymore.
Yeah, that's what Trump is doing. You said you'd like to see Trump clamp down on some things. These people that shoplift and steal and then put products online for sale, brand new, for 75% of the cost of new, how the FBI should be all over those people, because you put stolen merchandise on the internet, that's wire fraud.
Yep. Great call, buddy. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. It's Wes in Gladstone. He goes by Musty Moo Moo when he calls into Pete, which I love that. Feel free to use a nickname when you call the show. Anybody you can self-nickname. It's all good. We come back, the latest on the Chiefs. We've got some deadlines to report of what the Chiefs are saying they want to do. That's next on Uncanceled.
If it's happening in KCMO, it's on KCMO 95.7 FM. Here's Kevin Kietzman.
Okay, so a couple of weeks ago, we reported to you there are 5 pieces of land in the state of Kansas that the Chiefs had options on to purchase, and the options were good until March 31st. Then it was going to get costly to extend the period that they would have the exclusive right to buy that land without anybody else buying it. And of the 5, I can confirm to you that the Chiefs have extended at least one. I can't confirm the other 4 yet. One has definitely been extended, and I heard the date of May 19th is the extension. And I didn't understand May 19th at all. So it was time to start digging. Why May 19th, which is a Monday, which is a very, very strange day. So I've got sources in the know that are part of these deals and know about these options and this land, and they're working with the Chiefs, and it's all very quiet. These are off-the-record folks and the whole deal. We know this to be true, and we've talked about where these pieces of land are. One is obviously the Legends for the stadium, but we mentioned a place at 435 and Johnson Drive that could be a location for practice fields and a corporate office for the Chiefs to be right there. I think there's one out west, out the K-10 corridor, that at one point in time, I think the Chiefs thought, okay, there's some land out there. If we wanted to build a stadium in Kansas, we could maybe build something there. I think that one's gone. It's off the table. There'd be no reason to keep that because that's not where they want to put their stadiums. There's no reason to keep that big piece of land out by the Panasonic plant. And then there are other locations around where they could build practice facilities and corporate offices. So May 19th is the date. You know that June 30th in the state of Kansas is when the Star Bond offer expires. So these teams have to decide if they're going to Kansas by June 30th. The clock is ticking. It's April. Okay, this is go time now. There's no more 3-year holdup. This is it. So I am told by my sources that Clark Hunt told Jackson County that they have until the end of May to put another tax measure on the ballot in Jackson County. This would be for an August vote. May 19th is the last meeting of the month for Jackson County before the holiday weekend, and the holiday that occurs after that, Memorial Day, to get on the August ballot. There's no conversation really about doing this in Jackson County at this point that I know of, or anybody's reported. Maybe Pete knows more, somebody else knows more about what's going on in Jackson County, but this is for Jackson County, not Mayor Lucas, not the state of Missouri. The Chiefs are well aware of what Missouri's doing and what the city is doing. This is about Jackson County. Now, I don't know if that's a deal breaker or exactly what this is, but we also know that Clark Hunt, if he's going to Kansas, needs or personally wants another reason to say, hey, we tried this and it failed. So if they're going to Kansas and they're deciding by a June 30th deadline and they'll make some sort of announcement middle of the summer, which is June, right? June, July, middle of the summer. They're going to have to do this by June 30th. They're going to have all their stuff lined up with the state of Kansas by June 30th, one would think. So if Clark is doing this exactly and saying, I've extended my options on this land to May 19th, that's the last day you meet. If you can pass something that day to put a measure on the ballot in Jackson County, we'll rethink what we're doing and take a look at it. But mostly it sounds like he has dared Jackson County to just fail on this, which they will. They're not even talking about doing this, to my knowledge. So when the May 19th deadline comes and goes and they've met, and Clark Hunt later, sometime in June, makes an announcement, if this would be his announcement, we're moving to Kansas, he will be able to say, look, we told the Jackson County legislature we need another vote on the ballot by August. Their deadline was in May. They missed that deadline again. We can only be told no so many times by Jackson County, and it's time for us to move. He is building a case to have something that makes him feel better that I'm not sure the people of Kansas City really care that much about. I think they're overestimating how much Kansas City cares, where these teams are. Some people do. I think Missourians care more about losing a team than Kansas care about getting one. I literally don't know anybody in my sphere that really cares if the Royals or Chiefs come to Kansas. They're like, yeah, that'd be closer if it was the Legends for where I live. To go to a Chiefs game, it'd be more convenient, be easier. It'd be kind of cool to have a new stadium, be awesome to have a Super Bowl. Maybe rent my house that week, you know? You just don't know. So, yeah, it'd be cool, but I really don't know anybody that's like jumping up and down, oh, we got to get this to Kansas. And maybe there's a feeling by Missourians, we can't lose this. This is the end of the world. If they move to Kansas, I'll never go to a game again. Maybe, but I don't really believe that. I don't think I believe that. But it is very clear that, and it doesn't mean he's decided anything. It is very clear that Clark Hunt is building a case to move to Kansas, should he decide, ultimately that's what he's doing, to say A, B, and C happened in Jackson County, and it failed at every turn, and we just can't stay there. They failed us. They failed us on the vote. They failed us on the deadline for another vote. They failed to pay the money on time for the soccer renovation. They've failed at every turn, and he will state that publicly. Or they will tell reporters off the side, here's what they failed on. When asked about it, oh, I don't want to get into the dirty inner workings, but it just, it didn't work out with Jackson County. But then you make sure every reporter in the city knows they failed at A, B, and C, and they put that in the story. You'll know what Clark Hunt is mad about if he moves to Kansas. To me, it's a little bit disingenuous. I think the better deal for the Chiefs is in Kansas. I feel strongly about this. I think having a Super Bowl, Final Fours, more concerts, being able to build real estate and developments around your stadium that could be lucrative and generate revenue for you year-round, including and not limited to condos, apartments, things like that. Can you imagine a Chiefs Kingdom apartment complex with resort pools? And I don't know, theoretically, maybe they could build it 8, 10, 12 stories high like they do downtown and build some really cool spots for people to live right by there where the Chiefs play. Would be really cool. This is what they want to do. It isn't just bars and restaurants, but that would be included. It's about getting lease payments every month or selling condominiums for massive profits and being the HOA and making money every month on all the amenities. It's about revenue outside of football. The Chiefs can do that in KCK. I just don't see how they can do that at the Truman Sports Complex. Mark Donovan said on the record this week, what we would do is we would develop with our $1 billion around Arrowhead some game things that could be utilized on game day, but we're not talking about the Power and Light District here. No, you're talking about a couple of things at Arrowhead that they could build and fill up on game day and some concerts and things like that, but they wouldn't be open or very good for things 365 days a year. That exists in Kansas, and getting this information that they've extended the option on at least one lease, and now knowing that they're putting a deadline on Jackson County and saying May 19th is what they extended their lease to, which is just the most bizarre day ever. May 19th, a Monday, I was like, something's going on here. If May 19th is what they've extended their option to on this land, that is a very strange date. But I assume it's by the day. There'd be no reason to have it be the 20th if the meeting's on the 19th. So they're going to find out. And I think my interpretation of all this is Clark Hunt has put a gun to Jackson County's head and said, fail me again so I can say I'm leaving. That's what, and you know what? You know what the best bet in a casino would be? In any casino game ever invented? Betting on Jackson County failing. Be a pretty good investment, wouldn't it? Clark knows what he's doing. These people are really smart and they're really good at what they're doing. Does any of this make sense to you, Mark? Or do you think I'm off my rocker?
No, it makes sense. It just continues to, for at least in my mind, Kansas has the best offer out there, and we'll see if they're going to take it.
It's funny because you and I were talking before the show, before I got some other new information. May 19th. It's like, I'm looking at the calendar. It's a Monday. I'm like, what do you think that is? He's like, oh, boy, both of us were scratching our heads. I don't know. But there you have it. The latest on the Chiefs and a possible move to the state of Kansas. I'm not reporting to you that the Chiefs are doing anything. I'm not. That's not my game here. I'm just telling you, I will report to you that they have extended the option on at least one of their 5 pieces of land until May 19th. And May 19th appears to be the last day that the Jackson County executives will meet before the holiday, and a deadline that's been given to them by the Chiefs to put something on the ballot for August. June 30th is the Star Bond deadline in Kansas. It all adds up. The last meeting of May would be the deadline for Jackson County to put something on the ballot. That leaves them the month of June to still qualify for the Star Bonds in Kansas and leaves their options open for a few weeks. That's the way you negotiate these things. And if nothing's there and nothing's done by May 19th, I think they buy the land, and I think they'll make an announcement shortly after that they've purchased the land and they plan to go, instead of just extending the option on the land. 913-408-7957, your number to call if you'd like to join us. To be honest, Mayor Lucas seems pretty sure the Royals are staying in Missouri. It's almost starting, but and what I'm telling you here about the Chiefs and what Mark Donovan wants, what he clearly wants in his comments again this week publicly, it's really all starting to kind of look like and add up with the confidence of Mayor Lucas that the Royals are staying in Missouri and all of this information about the Chiefs headed toward Kansas, which they have not decided yet. Nothing's imminent. They've not decided. It's starting to look like each state's going to get one. And is that something we can live with?
Yeah, it seems like Mayor Lucas is going all in on the Royals. Not that he's not on the Chiefs, but it
Right.
publicly sounds like he's going all in on the Royals.
Yeah. Then if that happens, as we've just outlined, if that happens, what happens at the Truman Sports Complex? What would they develop there? What would it be? And who'd want the land? It's county land, right? County owns and operates all the land. That would be really interesting to see what would happen at the Truman Sports Complex. 913-408-7957. This is Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio.
You're listening to Kevin Kietzman Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM.
So I mentioned my buddy over at B-Stock Electronics a little bit ago. He sent me a text. He heard what we were talking about. He said last week they got a weight belt returned in place of a MacBook. I'm not sure I know what a weight belt is.
For the weight lifters.
Okay. I believe you.
They're doing the deadlifts.
And he got a lawnmower blade instead of a Sonos. They opened up a return Sonos and there was a lawnmower blade in there.
That's crazy.
What is wrong with people? I mean, it's unbelievable the theft and the things that people will do. It's just unbelievably outrageous. That's just wild. All right, Mark, we're going to do some sports in a moment. I want to spend a minute or two here talking about something that I teased at the top of the show and something that I'm sort of passionate about. And that is Jessica and I love spending time in the Arizona desert, all over it. We love the golf courses in Phoenix. We love the beautiful scenery in Sedona. We love the mountains and the trees in the Flagstaff area. We just think Arizona's awesome. We've spent a lot of time out there through the years and love it as kind of a second home. But when you're there, you hear a lot from people in Arizona trying to conserve water. And it's all about the water. And a lot of the power and water and everything comes down from Lake Mead, the Colorado River. Lake Mead's by Vegas. And we power all the Southwest with Lake Mead. Even some of the power and water goes into Mexico. It goes into California. And so they're always telling us these stories about how the drought. And Lake Mead is low and you got to conserve water and do all this stuff. I recently learned that Flagstaff is the snowiest place in America. They get more snow in Flagstaff, Arizona than most places in the Rocky Mountains, which was just blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. I don't know why that is, but Flagstaff is one of the snowiest places. Of course, all that melts and winds up down in Phoenix, goes down into the valley. But I saw this story today at Breitbart that for the third year in a row, we have outstanding snowpack in the Sierra Nevadas. And it's the best 3-year period of snow since 1997. So I Google snowpack, winter snowpack this year, and drought in the Southwest. Every story that pops up tells you this didn't happen. It's dry. Everything's going to burn. There's going to be no water in California, Nevada, or Arizona, and we're all going to hell, basically, is what it says, because we don't know what we're doing. Then I check out Colorado. Colorado, 2 weeks ago, their snowpack was 98% of where it should be. They've had 2 excellent years in a row, but they had 2 dry weeks. So it was down to 86% of where it should be. So there's all these stories. Oh, my God, we're at 86% in Colorado. What they failed to mention was the forecast, the day they published the story, in 48 hours was for 24 inches of snow in the mountains and 2 more snows afterwards. And April is the second snowiest month for all these mountains. We're just starting April. It's the second snowiest mountain. We're above the season total in the Sierra Nevadas, and we're at 86% for Colorado. These people in the media are fraudulent. They are just the worst. It is so gloom and doom. The second story that popped up on Google, and that's why I like to use DuckDuckGo instead of Google. The second story that popped up was from a site called drought.gov. That sounds like it's our federal government writing these stories. Come on, Doge, Trump, let's go. How about all these .govs? We got a whole bunch of .govs we got to get rid of. If there's something called drought.gov, I know what that reads like. No drought.gov is going to say, well, we're not in a drought anymore. No, they want their funding to keep coming. It's getting worse. Run for the hills. California was on fire. We've got drought. And why, if the Sierra Nevada have record snowpack for 3 years in a row and all this water in California, Trump turned one little faucet toward the left instead of the right to get all this water going down to LA. Why is it coming from Nevada and Arizona? Why does California need that? They've got their own mountains and snowpack. They've got all the water they need. We need to build some more reservoirs, and they need to use it. This is stupid. This is absolutely stupid the way we've gone about this stuff in the West. And I like to play golf, and I sit there and I watch them water the golf courses. I'm like, how can we be in a drought? They're watering these golf courses in the desert. They're beautiful green. If there's really a water problem in Phoenix, they wouldn't let the golf courses burn up all that water. They'd save it for my slow drip shower, which is all they have out there. Boy, you can't put water pressure anywhere in Phoenix. You better hire a plumber to come put some new stuff in, man. You better get the plumbing pro out right away. And I need a new shower head and I need some heat here. Let's go.
Brightside Plumbing.
Let's get it going.
Let's go.
All of them. Fantastic. All right, the Final Four is this weekend, Mark. I'll let you start with sports. Who do you like in this thing?
Oh, man. At the beginning of the tournament, I was saying Florida all the way. Now I think Duke.
Duke looks really good, don't
Yeah.
they? They look really good. The biggest story of the week has nothing to do around the Final Four, has nothing to do with basketball. Were you aware of the biggest story, the most viral story concerning the Final Four?
Not yet.
It's the Auburn cheerleaders.
Really?
Apparently, CBS showed them 3 or 4 times on the broadcast over the weekend. Some people are saying it's racist, of course. They shot down the line of these young ladies, and the first 4 were just like the girl next door, white girls from the South, Midwest, whatever. Beautiful young ladies, but more girl next door than think influencer. You know, not like this big giant, just like, wow, what a sweet girl. And they had their cheerleading outfits on, which are not the Dallas Cowboy cheerleader uniforms. They looked very wholesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like any parent would be incredibly proud that my daughter is an Auburn cheerleader. They looked great. They went viral because what is the out of the ordinary now on social media is something that's not overtly sexual. It's just somebody who has clean hair, doesn't have a bunch of tattoos, their boobs aren't hanging out, they're not flaunting it. You're just like, well, what a sweet young lady. These girls look like they're probably really good students, all of those things. And the public ate it up. They loved it. They couldn't get enough. They shared pictures of them and all this wholesomeness and the ponytails. It looked like the 50s, for crying out loud. The Auburn cheerleaders are the biggest story going into the Final Four.
That's cool.
It really is. Not the dance team. That's a different deal. You know, sometimes those dance teams in college are the Golden Girls at Mizzou. That's a thing now. Always has been, right? Golden Girls have always been a thing. How about the new NFL rules? Do you have a favorite? Have you seen all these that came out, Mark?
I don't like the change all the time, but I don't have one favorite over
Okay,
the
the
other.
tush push is out for now. They didn't get enough votes.
Yeah.
The kickoff will now have a touchback that brings it out to the 35-yard line. They believe that 75% of the kicks will now be returned.
Okay.
That nobody wants to kick it in the end zone because the 35-yard line's too far.
That could be fun.
They've expanded replay assist for multiple types of plays, but they still can't throw their own flag, which I think would be kind of cool. They're implementing the Sony Hawkeye system for first downs. It will be electronic from now on.
That's kind of interesting.
Knew that was coming. Overtime, this one's the easiest thing to predict years ago. Each team will get the ball, guaranteed.
Yeah,
Means
that
if you
should've
win
been
the
done.
toss now, you want to kick,
Yeah.
right? Get the ball last. And there will be a Christmas triple header. And I don't think the Chiefs are going to be part of it because they didn't want to do it last year. But Mark tells me the Chiefs now want to be on Christmas Day every year.
Yeah, try to be like the Cowboys on Thanksgiving.
Clark Hunt wants to be the Cowboys of Christmas. Maybe. The Vince Show's coming up. Thanks for listening to Uncanceled.